I used to be the popular girl at school. I came from money, was a cheerleader, got straight A's, and got along with pretty much anyone. I never dated in high school though. Being the daughter of a minister and all, I was told that I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend until I turned 18. My best friends used to make fun of me for it, and nicknamed me the Virgin Mary. So once I went away for college, I'll admit that I went a little wild. I joined a sorority, and long story short, I started dating a guy named Dylan. He wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but he treated me well. One Friday night, we were all hanging out at the frat house, watching scary movies and celebrating someone's birthday. Inspired by our movie marathon, my friend Tara came up with the bright idea to go to the bathroom and summon Bloody Mary.
Come on, it'll be fun. Don't be such a bore. I've never done it before and I'm sure you haven't either.
I opposed the idea because I don't mess with that kind of stuff, but was pressured into joining her. Fine, but if anything happens, I'm leaving.
Yes, it'll be Mary versus Mary.
We entered the guy's bathroom and Tara grabbed some of the birthday candles and a lighter from her pocket. She handed me a candle. I looked at her in confusion.
Oh, for added effect.
She lit them up and turned off the lights. Then she instructed me to recite Bloody Mary 3 times while looking into the mirror.
Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary.
Nothing happened. I didn't want to be a part of it anymore, so I turned on the lights and stormed out of the bathroom. Dylan took me back to my dorm room, and he spent the night comforting me. I didn't want to be alone. The next morning, Dylan was cuddling me, and he noticed scratches on my stomach. I'm known to scratch myself when I'm stressed out, so I didn't put much thought into it. For the next few weeks, I couldn't quite explain the state I was in. I didn't want to hang out anymore, and would suffer terrible nightmares. In my dreams, I'd be back at the frat house, in the bathroom reciting the name over and over again while staring at myself in the mirror. However, the version I saw looking back at me wasn't my normal self. The lights would flicker, and suddenly, I'd see a version of myself that looked like a corpse. She had scratches all over her face, blood running down her eyes, and sunken cheekbones. Dylan would wake me up from my sleep because of my screaming.
Mary, wake up.
Oh no, hand me the trash can. Then I would immediately vomit, and what came out had a tint of red.
Do you need me to take you to the emergency room?
No, it's fine. I'll be okay. Tara came to my room to convince me to have breakfast with her. As soon as she saw me, she was full of concern.
What happened to you? You look like you haven't slept in days.
So she took me to the campus nurse. The nurse couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, so she took samples of my blood and urine to send to the lab. She suspected that I ate something bad and had a parasite. She told me to rest and to wait for her phone call. For the next few days, I couldn't sleep because I kept having the same nightmare. I was losing weight, had no appetite, and had to wear gloves to sleep because the scratches on my stomach were getting deeper and bigger to the point of my shirt being stained with blood. It also hurt a lot to move, so I had to miss classes. One afternoon, the call came. The nurse told me that I was pregnant. I couldn't utter a sound.
Don't worry, you have options. You can come in right now and we'll talk them through. If you need some time to think, that's fine too. I'll be here.
I couldn't believe the mess I was in. When I hung up the phone, I felt something move in my stomach, and the scratches tear a little more. I screamed and called Dylan and Tara to come to my room immediately. Please come to my room. I need help. They told me they'd be by my side no matter what. I told them I couldn't have an abortion because it goes against my beliefs and upbringing. Then I told Tara about my nightmares and how this all started happening after that Friday night.
Has anything strange happened to you? No. I'm sorry.
I told them that I didn't feel like myself anymore.
I need to summon Bloody Mary again.
That's crazy.
What?
You can't.
No.
I need to ask for forgiveness for disrespecting her. For some reason, she won't leave me alone. It felt like a crazy idea, but I had to do something. Can you please accompany me to the frat house tonight? That night, I went into the bathroom alone, while Dylan and Tara stood outside the door. I told them not to enter, no matter how much I screamed or cried. I had an actual candle this time, lit it up, turned off the lights, and stared into the mirror. Bloody Mary. As soon as I uttered the first Bloody Mary, I felt something move in my stomach. Bloody Mary. I said it again, and cried in pain as I got a sudden cramp that almost made me fall to my knees. Bloody Mary! I said it the third time and screamed as I felt another tear. I looked into the mirror, focusing on my reflection, and the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Dylan and Tara tried to enter, but the door was locked. There, in front of me, was the reflection I was all too familiar with now. Except this time, I wasn't dreaming. She looked really angry at me, and in a whispered voice, she said,
Had enough of that parasite growing inside of you? Not so virgin now, are you, Mary?
I started apologizing to her, asking for forgiveness. I told her I would do anything, that she can do whatever, but I just couldn't live that way anymore. I'd rather be dead than not have control over my own body.
You stupid girl, you're so weak.
She laughed while scratching her eyes out, and blood came trickling down her face. Then the candlelight went out, and then fell to the floor in agonizing pain. The lights came back on. The door unlocked, and Dylan and Tara ran in and carried me out. They asked me what happened, but I couldn't say anything. Mary, babe, get up. Can you hear me? We gotta get out of here. I was carried back to my room, and they watched over me as I slept. I suddenly woke up again in pain. I felt extremely wet, and when I woke them up, guys, turn on the lights. I looked at my bed, and there was blood all over. They called 911, and I was brought to the emergency room. I lost the baby. I was relieved, but also really depressed for a while, so I decided to take the semester off. I also broke up with Dylan. I needed time to heal and rethink my life choices. Ever since then, I've made changes, and it has brought me closer to my faith. But I still occasionally have nightmares, and am terrified of my own reflection.